was really nervous and scared because I already had another baby and I didn't know what I was going to do with another one on the way. So I was like panicking about living situations and like money because I didn't have a job, so it was very overwhelming. I heard about CareNet through a friend, and then she told me to come here because they talk to you on one-on-one and tell you exactly how to figure out what you're going to do and then go from there.
Hi, I'm Jessica. This is my son Cody. And I found out, well, before I knew I was pregnant. Took a home pregnancy test. Then came up positive. I wasn't sure, so I looked up phone numbers in the phone book to figure out if I was quite sure because I wasn't new to the area. So, and then I found CareNet. I called them. They're very nice. And they made an appointment. And then we came in. They're very generous. And I just felt like home, pretty much. And then gave me a pregnancy test. It was positive, so I was pregnant. Then they offered me an ultrasound, which was cool because I got to see the baby. Then I came in for that appointment. That was pretty cool because they printed me out pictures and all that.
How I first found out about the program was in a women's Bible study that my church runs at one of my girlfriend's houses. And I knew immediately that God had put her in my life for that reason because I knew that she was working here. And I knew I so desperately needed something with regards to the healing of those abortions that absolutely destroyed me. And she had, well, it was a while after I met her that I found out that they were running the class, because she would mention little things about CareNet and how she was enjoying it, but I all the time knew that somewhere down the road Jesus had planned for me to do something with that, the healing of it. And she told me about the class, and I couldn't commit right away because of school and family obligations. But when I finally did commit, my husband was a little bit nervous that I was taking on too much, and I probably was, but I really wanted it, and I really knew I needed it. And she kept introducing it to me until I finally committed, and I finally got through the class. And I missed a couple of classes, but I made them up because I knew I needed to. And I was fearful about joining the group because I didn't want to connect with anybody. I was afraid of that. You know, I had been hurt so many times. The low self-esteem and the feeling of worthlessness regarding those abortions left me not wanting to connect with people. You know what I mean? And I did do it because I knew I needed it for myself, but I really never expected to connect with the other women in the group or the facilitators. And I never expected it to be such a beautiful experience, and it absolutely did change me, and it showed me who I am again.
Tell me about that experience.
Well, because I couldn't decide whether I liked steak or chicken better. I didn't know whether I liked red, blue, or pink. You know, I made my decisions based on whoever was in my life at that point in time. And I didn't want to be that person anymore because I had found Christ. And I was on a journey finding, you know, Him in my life. And knew that I had to get rid of the awful shame of the abortion. So when I finally came, the first night they asked us what we wanted to accomplish. And that was what I had said, that I wanted to find out who I was again. And I found that out, and I found out that I'm a pretty darn good person. I'm pretty worthwhile. I'm absolutely teachable. I have a love of Jesus that, you know, I can actually share now. I'm not afraid of who He is, and I'm not afraid to face Him with anything from this point on. They actually took the time to walk us through the Bible and show us how many times it tells us forgiven. It's okay. You can look back now. You don't have to run anymore.
Amen. Amen.
I talked to my parents, like my mom anyway, because all I have is my mom. But when I talked to her, she wanted me to get the abortion just because of how bad Nick was being to me. Plus, I didn't know if I was going to be able to live there because of having 2 children there. So then I was like, well, Mom, you need to talk to Leo, which is my mom's boyfriend, and try to figure out if I could stay there, because I didn't want to be like 9 months pregnant. Oh my God, am I going to not be able to live here? Am I going to be able to? And then Patty told me about the maternity home in Norwich, and she was like, oh, you can go there. And I was like, oh, phew, I feel a lot better. Like, I was like, okay, I'll be able to live there with my 2 kids. I won't have to get an abortion, and everything will be okay. And then, like, finally, I talked to my mom, and I got the courage to actually talk to my mom's boyfriend, and I'm still at my parents' house, so.
I think the memorial service was the best part for me because we finally got to speak and acknowledge those babies out loud. They gave us certificates of life, and we handed the roses, the white roses, over to Jesus, and we put those babies in his hands. And we know now that when we go to heaven, they're not going to know why we don't know them until we get there. They're not going to know the awful shame. They're just going to love us already, because Jesus is already talking to them about who we are, and they're excited to see who we are and meet us. I'm not afraid to see them anymore, and I'm not afraid to face Jesus and anything like that anymore because of this class. Even the several years that I've been trying to do this walk as a Christian, I so got such a feeling of forgiveness, and I'm not afraid at all to face God with anything from this point on, because of this was the biggest shame for me.
When she told me about her story, and then she told me that sometimes when you get abortions, like, it's harder to have another baby. And I love kids. I have my other daughter, and I don't want it to be hard to have babies because I love them.
So now I'm in like the learning process of it all, and they're teaching me a lot of good stuff. And then they offered me diapers and all that, and furniture, which really helped because I didn't have a job at the time. So they're really helpful. So without them, I don't know where I'd be right now. So without CareNet, I don't know where this world would be. Thank you.
I would say, do it afraid. You know what I mean? Don't not do it because you're panicked about it might open up wounds. There's people there that are going to love you. They're not going to judge you, and you're going to feel safe in that environment. And I would say absolutely, without a doubt, do it. It's worth every minute.
This is my daughter, Brooke, and she's going to be 7 months old on the 20th, and she wouldn't be here if it wasn't for CareNet. If I didn't come here, I probably most likely wouldn't have had Brooke. Or if I would have had Brooke, I probably would have been struggling because I wouldn't have came here, and I wouldn't have talked to Sarah or Patty or had them help me through it and tell me, like, it's going to be okay. There's help out there. There's people to talk to you. So I'm glad that I came here.